The strange curse between Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. Khabib and Ferguson finally never match. Khabib's last fight was against Justin Gaethje, with a win, where he took his record to 29 wins without a loss. However, the end of the fight was a sad one, because after the fight ended, Khabib announced his retirement from the UFC. Yep, that's very sad. But even more sad is the fact that Khabib will never meet Tony Ferguson in the octagon ring. As we know, Dana White has tried desperately to reconcile Tony with Khabib, but always ends in failure. White has failed to meet them 5 times since 2015, until 2020. Here are 5 meetings between Khabib Nurmagomedov and Tony Ferguson that always fail. But before we continue, don't forget to subscribe for those who haven't, and press the bell button for other interesting updates. The first attempt was made on 21 August 2015, where the UFC confirmed that they had booked a lightweight match between Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson. The match was scheduled for 11 December 2015, with the title The Ultimate Fighter Season 22, with Khabib's score at that time 22-0, and Tony Ferguson has 6 wins in a row. Unfortunately, on October 30, 2015, which is 2 months before the game, Khabib suffered a rib injury during training and was forced to withdraw. In Khabib's post, he even went so far as to say, "I'm not sure if I'll be back." Finally, the December 11 fight was replaced by Edson Barboza as a substitute for Khabib to fight Ferguson. That fight resulted in a victory for Ferguson in the second round via the choke Darce submission technique. Second attempt in 2016, where the UFC booked for Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson for the second time. The match, which was planned to be held in Tampa, Florida, was scheduled for April 16, 2016. But unfortunately, this time it was Tony Ferguson's turn to drop out of the fight. Tony was diagnosed with a problem with blood fluid in his lungs. In his tweet, Ferguson said, "I will heal up. I will be back," he wrote on Twitter. Finally, the meeting between Khabib Nurmagomedov versus Tony Ferguson also failed for the second time. Khabib finally fought a substitute fighter, he is Daryl Horcher, on April 16, 2016, with a victory. The fight was won easily by Khabib and ended with ground and pound stopping Daryl Horcher in the second round. At the end of 2016, the UFC was again interested in bringing together Khabib versus Ferguson, but there are obstacles. UFC President Dana White said Ferguson demanded the same money Khabib got, so Dana commented that, "When you sign a contract, you honor your agreement." Khabib responded to Tony Ferguson's refusal by saying, "If UFC won't pay you, I'll pay you $200K extra in your wallet. Let's have this fight now, you have no excuses," Khabib wrote on Twitter. Finally, the UFC also announced their third match, which this time will be the main match of UFC 209, and will be held on March 24, 2017. 21 days before the match, on March 3, 2017, there was news that said that Khabib had to be treated for weight loss problem. Ferguson responded to this case, but more gracefully. Ferguson tweeted, "I hope you feel better, Khabib. I pray for your recovery. I mean it, hope it gets better," Ferguson wrote. 3 days later, Tony Ferguson was less forgiving after seeing a video before the fight, which showed Khabib eating tiramisu. That's why Ferguson often calls Khabib as a team tiramisu even now. Time passed until the year 2018, to be precise on January 17. Dana White announced that the UFC had booked for the Khabib vs. Ferguson for the fourth time. The match, which is the main event, is scheduled to be held in Brooklyn on April 7 at UFC 223. I don't know the mystery behind the failed match between Khabib vs. Tony, because the fourth attempt ended the same as the previous attempts. And at this fourth meeting, we can guess, yup, this time it was Tony Ferguson's turn to get injured. You could even say Tony's injury was very strange. Tony Ferguson fell because he tripped over a cable, causing a muscle tear in the knee. Khabib finally faced Alec Winter because Max Holloway, who at that time replaced Tony Ferguson, was not in good health. Khabib finally won the fight. As if not wanting to give up, Dana White tried once again to bring Khabib vs. Ferguson by announcing their fifth meeting. The meeting was scheduled to be held at the Barclays Center, Brooklyn, New York, on April 18, 2020. Unfortunately, however, the corona pandemic spread so quickly, it cancelled out events around the world. So is the event for the Khabib vs. Ferguson. The UFC doesn't seem to want to stop just like that, even though the pandemic has paralyzed all regions in the world. Dana White has made various efforts, starting from moving the location outside Brooklyn, moving the fight outside America, namely Abu Dhabi, to the contest without an audience. However, the regulations in all regions are the same, mass gatherings are prohibited, and prohibition of entry and exit between countries. And their fifth meeting failed again. Dana White is willing to plan a Khabib vs. Ferguson for the sixth time. But Khabib refused and said Ferguson should fight teammate Islam Makhachev instead. Khabib said Tony Ferguson is done now, he will come back, and someone will beat him again, I believe. Because when you receive such damage, you will never be the same again. Will never. Even if you're Tony Ferguson, said Khabib. Well, that's 5 attempts at matchmaking Khabib vs. Tony Ferguson that always fail. Don't forget to like, comment, and share with your friends. See ya.